The mega Atmanirbhar push, curbs on defence imports have come in. Here is L&T Defence speaking on this big move towards making the defence segment more Atmanirbhar.
So it's definitely been a major positive announcement for the defence sector, as the defence minister has announced the negative arms import list, under which the acquisition of 101 weapon systems will now be will be banned from December 28 to December 2025. And this is going to come in as a major booster. Joining in is Mr. Jayant Patil. He's a whole-time director and senior executive vice president, defence and smart technologies at L&T. Thank you so much, sir, for taking the time out. Now, we have seen that not just now, but very recently, the government has been taking a lot of steps within the defense sector, be it with the reforms of the defense corridors, the FDI. How are you looking at the latest move?
The latest move, I would say, is the biggest of the move by the government till date. I would say last that for the first time someone showed the courage to say, I'm not going to import, I'm stopping import of many equipment. The first list, and I must say that the first significant list is what we are seeing in this 101. And I'm quite sure and confident that there will be more such lists, because there's much more the Indian industry today can do and has capabilities for. And that's essentially where the ecosystem that has been built within the Indian industry today, we can do much more. And of course, those will keep coming as add-ons to this current 101.
Yes, indeed. And the fact that there's a clear time bound on specific items as well, item-wise import embargo, this as well, do you think Mr. Patil is going to help prepare much better, commit more investments across the value chain?
See, I tell you the list, if we look at the 101 items, there's 16 just forthwith. When the government says December 20, it's essentially something which we can do right now. A lot of these are in those 4.85 lakh crores which the government has already cleared for being bought from the industry. And that's essentially where it puts in, and that's where it comes. Now, once those items getting ordered, and that's essentially where we say the allocation in terms of money is actually gone up. The minister clearly made a statement of, there's an allocation number, which if I compare with the last year in terms of same capital to capital, it's about 12% increase. So there is a commitment which is being shown. The third major dimension is a defense production policy draft, which has been issued last week. So it's a defense production and the export promotion policy, which has been issued. The numbers that we are seeing have a consistency.
Okay, so for the company in specific, for L&T Defense, financially, if you can just tell us how this move is going to benefit?
It certainly means good for someone who's been there in the sector for nearly 3.5 decades, because that's exactly where lesson to grow is. And we built our technologies indigenously. Now, this is time to sort of start encashing, and I wouldn't want to rush into some big numbers for a simple reason. We yet to see these orders physically happen. Today, there's a first step in the policy saying that it shall not be imported. What it now means is it will be bought from Indian companies for sure. The acceptance of necessity has been granted. On the other end, the government is now providing money, making those commitments, and saying that next 5 years, we are going to be taking it from current 70,000-80,000 crore of an Indian industry size to 140,000 crore plus an export of 35. To actually start seeing some serious action and serious business in this sector, although capabilities and capacities exist, and these actually existed much earlier. So this one time one sees that there's a new defense production policy which is coming, the production come export promotion policy. There's a new DPP coming in, which is becoming hugely positive. There's a negative list which has physically been announced. There's some year-on-year targets which have been brought in, which has never been an experience in this sector. Literally, more than 35 years that I look after this sector, I've not seen this kind of clear point action. This to be a good time coming. Of course, it will really begin only when the orders physically start trickling down.
Absolutely. And what's your view on the separate budget head created with the 52,000 crore rupee outlay for domestic capital procurement? How much that could potentially help?
By the last year's actual number, it was about 46, and that's where I said 46 to 52 is roughly about 10 to 12%, between 11 and 12% increase. So the long-term plan under the defense production policy is to achieve a 15% CAGR. Now, this is slightly short of CAGR, but this has happened while, you're trying to change an engine while in flight. So that's essentially the scenario. Right in the first year, yes, itself, they've been able to find 12%. So that's something which we see positive, and that's essentially where the next 7-8 months will see some action by the time the March ends and this financial year ends.
Any challenges that you still see persisting? What else are you expecting from the Defense Ministry?
We still expect a perfect the ordinance, one government owned, there's one government controlled, and then we obviously will look forward to far better understanding of the issues which each of these segments carry, and the steps that the government made, that the ordnance factories will be corporatized. So is the defense PSUs, which are today corporatized. As more and more start getting publicly listed, there's a much better behavior the public shareholding will drive. And that's essentially where, on policy, we need little more of the level playing field to be coming in. And then, of course, it's the best, may the best man win.
And given that India is currently the second largest importer of defense equipment in the world, how much do you think that scaling the defense turnover will reduce the import bill for the government?
I expect quite sizable change. Today, we are roughly about 40% of the overall defense spend goes out of the country directly. I'm not saying indirect. Indirect, some more portion goes out, but the 40 is what has been going out. And that's essentially which was little higher of late because of a neglect during the earlier regimes, and of course, much more number of orders, including the Rafale and the we've bought the air platforms, we're buying, taking a lease submarine, varieties of things, and the, S-400. Now, each of these major acquisitions essentially has meant that there's more money getting in outside. And I see over this new policy of defense production come export promotion, over next 5 years, I see it to be halved. The imports would actually become roughly half. And that's essentially where that's an extra add-on which will come in. So even if the allocation goes up 10% year on year, the Indian industry actually can grow to that 15%. That's exactly where the some small mathematical simulation shows that on the revenue side you can grow 15, even if the budget allocation stays at 10. And that's exactly what seems feasible. This year itself, the allocation has been increased by 10-12, as I said.
Mr. Patil, it's been a pleasure having you with us on ET Now. We hope to interact with you very often. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Avan. Thank you.